Hello and welcome to the first in a series of Marcura Observations. Today's topic is our latest study on port waiting times. And to present it with me is Kim. Kim, good morning.
Hello, David. Very good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Now, Kim, you're absolutely the man to present this study because you did it. Your team actually produced this. Obviously, the full study covers a lot of different areas. It covers wait time by country, vessel segment, commodity type. You're not going to take us through the whole study because it's quite in depth, but you are going to take us through a couple of the key slides. So maybe at this point, I hand over to you, change the slide, and it's over to you, Kim.
Okay, thanks a lot, David. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of details into this. I'm just going to give you a few highlights today. So what really triggered us to do this one, I mean, we do many things with the data that we have in our team today. We study a lot of stuff. But what triggered us on this one was the news all the time where we keep hearing about delays in the container shipping market and vessels queuing up outside of US. So that triggered us to say, is it really the same in the bulk industry? So what we did was we started 78,000 port calls where we compared the waiting times for 2020 versus 2021 to understand is that actually also the case in the bulk business. And as you also already mentioned, we were then digging it further down into understanding the differences in vessel segments, country levels, and commodities. So the first thing we saw was actually, yeah, it is true. Waiting times have increased. What we actually saw was the total turnaround time has increased from 6.5 days to 7 days in a year. So quite a significant raise, half a day on average on a global scale. But what was interesting in the perspective of this study was really that the average waiting time for terminal is up from 2.7 to 3.1 days. So that the aspect and the result of that is actually that we see an increase where it used to be 41% of the time in port that was wasted due to waiting for terminal. That is now up to 44%. So a significant increase on the portion of the time in port where you're actually waiting for the terminal itself.
And this is global.
This is
right.
global overall trend across everything. So this is too much macro, you could say. This doesn't really give you the full picture. And it's always very dangerous to just look at high level averages, but it's a good place to start. So one of the things we did was we digged into understanding the differences on the different commodities. And what you can see here is that on some of the commodities, it changed a lot. If you see, for example, the cement, which is kind of middle of the table here, you can see it used to be an average of 2 days, and now it's up to 5 days. So a big increase on cement, where some of the other commodities, grains, I mean, it used to be 3 days, so it increased to 4 days. Yes, it did increase, but it didn't increase as much. We then looked at also at the different countries. Of course, this ties to countries to say, what are the countries that are operating these commodities the most? So we then broke it down also to understand on a country level. So what you can see here is that, yes, as expected, China increased a lot. But there's also countries where actually the waiting time has decreased, like in Netherlands and Korea. The actual average waiting time has decreased from 2020 to 21. So just going around and thinking that the whole world has just increased, it is actually not true. But again, this is looking very high level also on country level.
Sure, absolutely. Now, we've shown now just a part of the report that you do, and you do the report regularly, right? How do people get hold of the full report and all the other reports that you do around port analysis?
I mean, if you're a Portlog customer, then they're available for download in the system. And we're doing like 1 or 2 reports every month on topics that we find to be of interest to the industry when we get inspired working with our customers to understand what is it that drives their decision process and what is it that they need to know more to make the right decisions. So that's what inspires us to do studies, right?
Yeah, sure. So basically, it is a key part of the broader Portlog service that we offer. So please get in touch about Portlog. Now, finally, Kim, what I really want to know, what I asked you when you first showed me this, is how exactly is this used? Because even when we're drilling down to a bit more detail, it's still a fairly macro picture, right? So how do charterers and operators in their day-to-day life actually use this information?
Absolutely spot on, David. So it's dangerous still to look at high level numbers as an average across a year across China. There's too much differences that you can see there. So what the users of Portlog would actually do is they're going to be checking for each scenario they're looking at. So this is just a screenshot from our charting module. So in this case, a charting person would be looking up, what should I expect when I have a handy loading sugar in Santos? And as you can see here at the top of the screen, we're breaking this down to the terminal level, because countries is too high level, but even ports is too high level. You need to go all the way down to a terminal level to understand what is actually happening here. And what you can see here on the small insert is that the waiting for terminal here, the average across the last 24 months for this combination has been 4 days and 16 hours. But we have seen as low as 2 hours and 24 minutes and up till 29 days. And what you see on the right side, that is the situation right now as per AIS data. And what is actually also very interesting for planning purposes here is to see the first come first serve index where it says rarely. So you don't get in the sequence you're arriving in this terminal. So something else is impacting the sequence that you would go to terminal. And that is, of course, even a further dimension to this, to understand what is it actually that's happening down to terminal level here with the waiting, and how does that impact?
So just to summarize, Kim, the PowerPoint slides that we've shown is your report that you do publish through this Portlog platform, but really at a very macro level, what the guys are using on a day-to-day basis, what our customers are using, what charters and operators are using on a day-to-day basis is what we're showing here, albeit, of course, not a screenshot, but actually the logged in platform that is Portlog, the core functionality of Portlog.
Absolutely right. That's what a normal user would be doing in his daily job. He would be looking up here to say, what is the current situation? What should I expect? The studies are more to drive an interest, understand the bigger perspectives, what to look out for.
And of course, we would love to show prospective customers the Portlog platform and give full demos. So please go to the website, reach out, and we can give you a full demo of the real Portlog system. Kim, thank you very much. You've got to pick a second one to do in the next couple of weeks. So I look forward to speaking to you then. But until then, thanks very much.